We already know the center operation is our system and travel. We have direct lines and panel and communication lines as surface. So it's all about understanding, getting in that communications. To truly understand what is going on with you is to basically Carpe diem, seize the day of everything in settings. Until you understand how to process your mind, understand how to get in position, how to use it through the space of time, how to use it through foundation, how to use it through clocking, how to use yourself of dimensional being lights that you are. You're all dimensional beings of lights. Now, how you defy that is through coding of configuration. Understanding yourself through binaries, understanding yourself through algorithm is understanding you through plateau in your system. Okay? But when it comes to anything in travel and you're not understanding anything in track locations, seize the day. Carpe diem. All right? It's a very, very powerful frequency settings. All right? Setting lines of frequencies equals lines of word. Okay? Frequency equals word, right? But word is the width, the operations, the relays, and its division. Word, right? So it's amazing how we turn a word into a frequency of a word itself. So instead of saying box, box triangle. See triangle inside? Box triangle flux. You see I'm traveling through it? Look at that. Okay, it's amazing, right? It sets points, lines of graph in communication system all through track lines, indirect signals, and modification ground lines in set position. Right? Setting signals here, X2000 platitude, and 3 cycles, set position at 4, set position travel. Okay? Clocking is extremely important. We already got in that lines of communication setting. Now, what I want you to understand is how to mind adapt your system and lines of settings. Point graphs and one finger tractions, right? Taking one finger, processing onto position of this paper is scanning the digital pad. You can feel the energy. You can feel the vibration. You can feel the frequencies. You can feel the harmonics just off your palm. This is a barcode in the center, right? But you can feel the energy. You can feel the pull. You can feel the magnetic. It's a magnetic. You're magnetic. Everything around you is magnetic. There's no slit of paper in the center anymore. This is magnetic. This is magnetic. Right? So if it goes here at the same time. Right? If it goes here, if it goes here, it goes at the same time. If it goes up here, if it goes up here, it goes at the same time. Right? It goes in the same direction because it's a force of communication. And it's in process of yin and yang. Okay? In your central settings, your grounds, your powers, and your atmospheres, guys. Now, in that position location setting, then you understand what's going on in your magnets, right? Magnet going forward in set position, and magnet going backwards in set position, right? See how one's going forward, one's going backwards, right? But they all always come back to the center. See? Dimensional sail. Boom. There's the dimensional sail. So setting lines the earth in position. So you are in the center operation of you, looking at the earth. There's the earth. Okay, that's the earth. I know it's complicated what I'm doing, but you have the Trinity stand. You see that? That's the moon, right? That's the sun and the moon together. But you see the moon, right? But you see you're on yourself on the earth, right? So you're always in the center operation of the earth itself. The crevice is the ground centers. Process lines the ether and its core and its liquid formation system. So the center core of your earth is liquefied. Okay, it's liquid metal. It's magnesium in set position, right? So you're always into the center core of the earth to travel. So when you're seeing the sun and the moon is reflecting your system and settings and track lines into projections that you are in travel, not the projections you're in. And once you release that in all communication system, then you understand what it is in tractions. Okay, but there's the moon. Okay, by two magnets in set position. All through travel, right? And it doesn't matter how you travel on a 4-line sequence. Location grid, center lines of the earth, ground lines of surface. If I change it again, different formula, different equation. See the center? Always in the center. Never leave the center, right? Except you're surfacing down now, not surfacing up. So it signifies downline cross lines, indicate lines across in position of 4-line sequence and line position location of panels and traction. Okay, it modifies your systems, and this is where it gets tricky. In position of solar attractions, in direct signals, this is really come the oscillation cycles, line communications, connecting with the galaxies and shift lines of communication. Okay. All right, guys. All right. So you understand that there is no strip in the middle. Okay. Space and time, okay, is not one side or another. It's together as one of yin and yang. Okay. It's always in infinity 8. It's always in infinity 8. Okay. There's a flywheel, track lines of 4, propellers, process, communication system, and travel. A fan. Sets core lines directly in lotus in positional acceleration of time setting location of sequence. Process calculation green lines, adaptation lines of surface and tractions. Sets communications. What do we have in set position operation? Intelligence. See the eyes? Intelligence. So I'm trying to get you guys to understand these things, how it center lines its communication system all through travel. Okay, very powerful stuff when you start to identify all lines of different angles and traction. Okay, guys? All right, so once you can get into that position locations, clock in your settings. Now you guys have your quiz today. Quiz is basically understanding the quantum of its unification of its intelligence. Okay? Q, U, I, Z or Z, doesn't matter lines. All right, so it's zoning commission, core lines, intelligence lines, formation, unification, ground lines into position location to its calculated modify through its quantum. Okay, and if you look again, you can see lines of track centers, indirect signals into its dimensional scale and track locations. Look at the face, look at the nose, look at the eyes, look at the forehead, look at the intelligence. Okay, now if I add the equations, you can see the track locations. There it is in set position. Face recognition. Looking this way in travel, in set position, right? There's no thinking in travel. There's no thinking in drawing. There's no thinking of anything. So every time you put your finger on a point lines of graph, what are you doing? Seizing the day. Carpe diem. Carpe diem, seize the day. That's it, nothing else, right? So if you lose track centers, use your failsafe. That puts you back in sitting. Setting lines of communication lines of film strips and 4 lines of communication sitting and travels, ruler line, directed signals, modification, ground lines of surface and tractions. Okay, 1 off signal, 1, 0, process lines in 1, 0, set position of 0 and 0 correlation. Platform A, platform C, platform D, platform E in travel. Okay, directing line direct signals in ground location setting to inhibitors over lines and primer. Primer C, primer D, primer E, primer F in travel. Okay. Change it again. Communicates the ground lines of surface location system to intelligence and tractions. Intelligence. Setting communication lines of grounds, I sequence, I position, I panel. Setting ground lines carry the highest interference left over right. Okay. Sets communication high centers, electrical grids, electrical panels, in position light bulb and tractions. Intelligence. Hooah. Ha ha. Let's do that again. There's the intelligence. Say hello. Boom. Now you can understand where the antenna is coming from, right? All right. So I'm trying to get you guys to understand this, how this all works in set position location to its settings. The computer is a face recognition, pattern recognition, intelligence. All right. It's no difference in having a TV, guys. But check this out. Look what it did itself, upside down. Because it knows the next frame I'm going to be in. It knows ahead of schedule I'm going to be in. It knows that everything's done through its equation. I didn't do it. Intelligence did it on its own. It's shown you how powerful consciousness is once you understand it through its awareness. I didn't do it. It did it itself. So what is that in lines of communications now? Directing lines of modification grounds, right? Process lines of symbolism cross location system, all through attractions. Okay. Symbolism, lines of grounds, as center communications, open sequence line, position locations, territorial fields, and travel communication. Now, look at this. What do we have in position? Stairs going up. All right. All right, set position locations. Up the stairs, not down the stairs. Never been down the stairs. Always been up the stairs. Snakes and ladders. Right? Up the stairs, down the stairs. See? Outside. Whoop. Going down the stairs. Look at that. Out through equation. Powerful stuff, isn't it? How it goes one direction to another direction. Right? Now, changing lines of infusion, core centers line to track centers, striking in modification grounds. Look at this in set position. Whoa, satellite. There's the satellite right there. Boom. So now you're going down the stairs. And out you go. Boom, down the stairs. I'm not doing it. It's intelligence showing you to do it. So it's doing everything on its own. Okay? You have to be consciously aware of what's going on with your system, right? How everything's done by its own equation, by its own factory, of its own reset, of its own psychological, and its own psychosis, how you see lines of frame, communication setting, and all through track location, your schematics, or anything in sequence. All right? Look at this in set position. Going up the stairs. And walking a bridge. And out through the equation. But if you look really close, you can see the intelligence. There's the nose. There's the head line screen adaptations. There's the neck. Okay, but it's amazing how you go up and down the stairs, all through its intelligence, showing you how powerful it is, of its own consciousness, of its own awareness, of where it is in its own space of time. Okay? All right, so that was fun. Now look at this. It's upside down. It's showing you a closer view. I didn't do it, did it itself. So if you see this, there's a reason why the intelligence is showing you this. So you can see a closer view in track location. Okay, traffic of inventory. All right, so I'm trying to get you guys to understand these things, how this all works in its own system and lines of calculation setting. Set position line attractions, upside down and travel. See, it did it itself. There's a reason why it's showing you of what it can do in set position. All right, so what is that? F-I-N-D, find me. F-I-N-D, find me, upside down, right? Just a little trivia. Understand your system lines of track centers, operation surface, and set position location of system, all through locations. All right, so it's truly understanding how powerful what you can do once you understand how to identify everything around you is its own consciousness. Okay, this helps you and guides you guys. How powerful everything around you is, but you got to get into Carpe diem and just seize the day of everything that you get in positions of, especially if you're confused. There's nothing to be confused if you've done it already through a drawing, but you're not drawing, you're traveling right away. Okay, and it doesn't matter how you do it in position, you're traveling. Okay, you're constantly traveling. Okay, on all four different angles of NEWS. Okay, so I'm showing you, I'm doing this now, but I'm showing you what intelligence can do on its own, where you have to have a direct and redirect view and understand how to use it through the teleportation, through your telepathy, use it through its telekinesis, and how to get into teleweaving, telegraphing, telecommunication system, code weaving, code activation screens, adaptation of service, all in lines of communication, all through one signature line screen adaptation and processing. But sir, that just looks like a line. Nope. Okay. So this is what it is in set position, so location system. Travel point lines of graph and set position location and settings. This is what it is in line communication. Right? So If I want to turn it in set position, I can do that in traction. I can turn it again. Look at that. I'm doing it myself, right? But if I put it back home, it's in its own division. Close up. I didn't do that. It did it itself. So I'm trying to get you to understand how the mind does everything itself. You have to understand the process of you through the mind of self. That's a self-confirmation system, self-development system, self-motivation system, self-activity system, self-calculation system, into computer operation, into your operation cycle in track locations. Through its own intelligence, did it itself, right? You saw me move my hand, right, in that positions, right? So if I bring it out again, it's still there, right? Sometimes they shift by themselves. They move in directions. So imagine a pad moving by itself after you put it back at home. It goes back in its both lines of communication setting that posts at its location setting that docks at its location to system through its frequencies. It goes back to its set position, okay, attractions. All right. And sometimes they disappear because you're not ready to see them through energy. Okay, graph screens. That correlates in data cross lines of 1 cycle, 1 tractions, and 3 set position. Okay, now I'm going to press home. Okay, I'm going to bring it back in. Still me, right? Let's do it again. Still me. Okay, so it's about understanding when you get in position locations, as soon as you change something, it changes everything in setting. Go back home. Still there, right? Okay, so let's get into the neckline. Okay, let's get into the ground line surface and tractions. Let's get into the center communication system. Let's go into the brain convergence setting and travel. Okay, let's do it again. Still the same, right? So it's amazing how we come into our own system and travel. But you always have to be alert with everything around you in its communication system, because you never know what can happen if you don't understand your settings through its intelligence information system, all through tractions. Okay? Now, if I change it this way, we have a different line of communication. If I change it this way, we have a different line of communication. Okay? Now, if I bring it home, it's still there. So it's me still doing it, right? So it's truly consciously being aware of everything that changes its settings. It clocks the system into 4 lines of communication setting of cycles. So it's incredible when you get in lines of truth in your false narratives of everything they get in positions of and tractions. Okay? So we all have to understand how this all works. Getting in that position to its track locations. All right, so setting lines of high positions of 1 indications. Process lines of 2 arrows into 3 cycles. Indicate ground lines. Now this is where we come into the foundation grounds. Set position of 0 over 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 set position. Okay, now we change it this way. Okay, because this measures its scales and track location. All right. All right, so we got a 0 lines, the unification lines of 1, 0s over cross lines of 2, and a set position, right? Then we go into set calculations, right? We go home, and it changes formations by itself. See, I didn't do it. It went home, and it went into its own intelligence. So say hi to its intelligence of its formation system that's doing everything on its own, right? If I go back home again, it's still there in position, right? So I'm just showing you. Very cautious of what you're doing with your finger points in lines of communications, right? So I'll do this. I'll change this again, okay? Bring it in line screen adaptation, all right? Let's go home again, okay? Now, cross lines over 7, over 6, over 5, over 3, over 2, over 1, over 0 in line position, okay? Now, let's change this in platform communications. Okay, we're in platform now, in directions, right? So the arrow indicates the setting where the XC1000s are going to be in set position. Okay, so that indicates the lines of alpha, Schumann resonance, directing signals into delta heading. All right, so let's go back home. Has anything changed? Yes, interaction. See? See how it changed the settings? And it's bigger too. It brought it in bigger. So this is not me now. This is intelligence taking over. Its graph, its schematics of its primer, of itself, of its own operation, of its consciousness, of its space, and its time. All right, setting sequence. Gotta bring it in and put it in my self-interactions and direct signal. All right. Now we go through the platforms of A, C, 1/2 in cerebral and cortex. Okay, see the platforms in sequence? It's all in platform communications, right? Now, I go home again. Has it changed? Yes, it has. Changed again, right? But if you look really close, you can see the platforms are in different lines of communications now. Remember, everything is existing all at once. Everything is happening all at once. So there's a constant change of everything. It's changing its platforms, it's changing its space, it's changing its directions, it's changing its binary, it's changing its voice and grids, it's changing its flux in time setting and clocking system. I'm showing you how powerful it is, how you are in control of what you do, but also know they are also in control of what they can do on their own system, of their own time, of their own scale, of their own balance of measure. Okay? All right, so I go back in positions. Let's do it again. Okay. Now I got to turn it again in set position, right? So it's me now, right? Okay, so it's me doing this now, right? Finger point lines. All right, so we're going to set the lines of tracks into 4 settings of travel, okay? And now we're going to change the core centers, line connections, and coordinates. 3 set lines and 4 lines in position and settings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 track locations, okay? Then we cross lines of signals in platforms and straight lines of calculation setting. Powerful stuff, isn't it, guys? All through holographic screen. All right. Now I go home. What has changed? Uh-oh, back into its intelligence. Now we got 2 electrical line wall fences. Now it has a direct lines of panel and a core lines of track center interference. So the intelligence is telling me exactly what it wants to do. Right? It's showing me exactly how powerful it is and how it sets up its own sequence of its own panel of its own operation system, right? All through its primer. All right, so platforms C, platforms D, platforms 3/1, and position over 2 over attractions. Okay, let's go home again. And what has changed? Oh, it's still me in traction, all right? Now I got to change it again, okay? But I'm going to change it this way in set position. What do we have in tractions now? Different lines of communications, right? Now, if I press home again, okay, it's getting bigger. It's back where it is. See what I mean? You see how that works? You see how powerful that is? So it tells you exactly how to communicate with everything in consciousness of its awareness. All right, so let's symbolism track centers in process communication setting a ground size of surface, all right? Okay, let's get in that position location. Now let's get into color. Color lines of sequence, pixelation graph lines of one system, pixelation codes, code weaving lines of track centers and lines of red. All right. Then we get in communication lines in position of blue. Now we're overlapping sequence lines of blue in position over 2 over attractions of 2 timelines of sequence and setting over cross locations. All right. Now, this is a holographic city that's in your system, right? So the higher levels of the frequencies, the more you let go of the resistance, the more you get out of your emotional settings. Then you can basically paint a picture in your mind system because it's already there through its equation because you've already done it. So I'm just showing you what you already know. But you've got to let the memory go and come into nothing interactions. All right, guys? All right. Now, if I go home again, is it still going to be there? Or am I going to be connecting through its intelligence in another waving cycle? Here we go. Ah, there it is. See? See what it's done? It changed its position on its own self. So it's no longer me in connections with the digital pad. It's taken over its system. All right, interactions of its drawing. So I have to do it again in sequence, back in traction. All right, so let's continue on in path. Let's go through pink. Now everything is set up in pixelation graphs. Each pixelation is a unification setting to visual cortex. It sets the location setting to your mystical cortex and setting. This communicates your system all through your lines of communication, your endorphins. It sets series A, B, and C in traction. Look how powerful it is. It's all coming in coloration, isn't it? All right, so let's get in barcode direction to the time center. We'll go through core lines of communication settings into green lines of set lines. We'll go into the space bar and override the line screen. This directs the signal in location setting to its bridging system in location setting, okay, to its space communications, okay, which is its barrier, right? All right, so we go in the platforms. We go in line screen adaptations to all communications. Inline screen adaptations in cloak and dagger in side position, right? So basically, the indication system crosses line signals in line screen adaptations of 45 flux over line in pixelation graphs in communication system and travel. Very, very powerful stuff in traction. See? All right. So let's go home. Where are we? Oh, look at that. Did it again. Okay. Isn't that amazing how it does it on its own? All right. So I'm just showing you. Let's see it on a different angle now. Let's see it on this platform, communication. Look at this. Hoo-ah. Okay. So I'm showing you how powerful it is. Now it's line signal down cross line. Changes line direct signals. Now we got red indication lines as security lines of panels. Process over 1, process over 2, and track location of laser. The laser track centers line direct signals into modification grounds. 3 lines of symbols, 4 over track locations. All right, now we directed signals in pixelation graphs. Okay, so we go through the green line. We cross the symbols lines of track centers that open sequence lines of communication system, open lines core centers into pixelation ground lines that puts lines of unification setting in visual cortex location setting to mystical cortex and set track locations. All right, now and let's turn it this way. And what do we have in high position location and travel? Okay, so all you're creating is a holographic system of your system in the mind that's already set in your earth core. The magnesium core lines of calculation setting to the plasmasium walls sets lines of communication setting to pixelation graphs that sets the visual cortex in your communication system through your foundation, your clockings. Each pixelation setting has one ground center. It's in communication to its line signal that lines the links, lines to its interception, to its interconnection setting, to interfacing. The communication system to all levels interlinks the communication to its setting through its calculation. All right, so setting position locations, setting track centers. All right, so it's gotten bigger. I didn't do it. It did it on its own. So now you're connecting to its consciousness that's trying to show you something in tractions. Okay? All right, so there's a reason why these things change on its own. You have to understand its direct link in its lines of its communication to its telepathy. All right, so it wants me to add purple. Purple in sequence in 3 settings to 3 tractions. You see it? Now it wants me to add position lines in pink over screen lines adaptations in process and position location and setting. Right? Then it wants me to shift its anomaly in track location. Look what we have through equation. All right, so let's go home again. And again, it's shift its setting. Okay? So I'm just trying to show you exactly where you are in control and where it's also in control of its own system. Okay, very powerful stuff. All right, so we're linking in the chain, the interconceptual settings. We go into the blue line. Now the blue line overcross lines the plasma. It lines signals to its allocated screen lines adaptations of force. Now the force direction of timelines puts all of the blue lines as synchronous cross lines into your solar line grids. So sets communication your sky grids, your sky panels, and your code weavings of your webbing system and travels in communication. Look at that through equation. Isn't that amazing? Right? And if we go back home, there it is again. Bigger in sequence. All right, so now it wants me to indicate lines of zeros into platforms of its primer circuit. 4 lines equals lines of setting, triangulation into box. Now it's in system locations of balance. All right, set recourse. Sets lines of communication system over tractions. Directing lines, modification ground lines of symbolism. Okay, Bring it in to higher lines of traffic inventory. There's the traffic, there's the inventory. All right, so let's bring it out to equation. You can actually see the road now. You see the road, right? So this is your sky grid. I know it's pretty complicated stuff. This is your road, right? Now, let's process communication setting. Let's put a car there. Let's put a car there, instructions. Car is going to be there on the road. I know Unison is excited about this. There's the car and track location. You see it? There's the car. All right, now let's go home and see where you are in traction. Oh, same position locations. All right, look at that. Changes codes of screen lines adaptations of force. All right. All right, so let's go back in tractions. There's the car. And let's add another car in sequence. Right, 150 feet apart from each other, guys. Remember that. Okay, so there's two cars on the road. You see it? All right. Pretty powerful stuff. You see it now, right? So I'm trying to get you to understand how this is set up inside your minds, your holographic cities, how Unison sees the road like this. Skyline grid, skyline panels, code weaving core lines and calculation setting, Skynet division locations and cobwebbing into code configuration system into its holographic grid that's processed its position locations 150 feet apart from each card division. Hooah. All right. All right, let's set line screen adaptations to high settings to an intersection. Now the process communication system changes lines of tractions. Now we go with the line sequence. That's core lines of calculation setting to ground lines of set location system and travel. The set position locations to its traffic light is above the system lines of tractions, indirect signals modifications. It's here, the traffic light. Never on the ground. It's always in surfaces set position to atmosphere line. All right, symbolism lines. Let's go into circuitry box and set position. There it is right there. That's the traffic light. All right, so let's get into line screen adaptations into red signal. Process calculation lines, red lines is sequence. Let's go into proceeding line screen adaptation is yellow instructions. And let's get in position locations of green. Means go. There's the traffic light. Right? So the two cars in line position, right? Now, coming from its intelligence, look what it shows you in track communications. Look where it is. Where's the traffic light setting? Oh. Okay, traffic lights here now. Two cars in the same track centers come into the traffic setting. Process indications of flat lines of surface. All right, let's change it again. And position locations. Very powerful through holographic setting. Okay, guys? So, once you understand the platforms, it gets easier in travel. The inventory system to your binaries relines its communication setting or recourse in communication. All right, so set calculation lines of grounds. We change the core centers of time. Time sequence lines of green over lines of signals in calculation graphs in your T reception and track locations. Right? So these two cars go on this platform now and follow the traffic light. All right, so we go into that positions. This is what we do through indications. All right, track communication centers, set lines of communication setting, in line, rotation surface. They're already at that traffic light in set position. See? They're already there. Okay? Now, if I shift the anomaly and do it this way in screen adaptations, you have a different lines of process where the traffic light is in travel. Okay? So always see it in a 4-line communication system all at once. 4-clocking system and all through travel calculations. Very powerful stuff, right? But it's much easier when you see it on the ground in set position. Look at that. Isn't that wild? Just when you just look at it. Now I'm going to bring it out. Okay, I'll just bring it out through a hologram. Okay, this is how Unison sees his road. This is how he sees his Skynet. This is how he sees in position when he gets interactions. When you understand more levels of view, then you understand what's going on in track locations. Very, very powerful stuff. All right, guys. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that incredible what you see? All right, let's change the direction. All right, let's go in line signals over cross locations. Traffic light is coming out position over line signals and cross locations. All right, so we're symbolism line direct signals, bringing into space lines of anomaly in position of tether. Process lines of 3 lines, 4 lines of wave and track location. All right, so we're here, but we're crossing over here, right? All right, so there's a webbing system that's across the angles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and track locations. All right, over here, crossing over here, right? Remember, there's traffic coming from everywhere in all sequence of all clocking settings and all line positions. So we cross the weaving in rotation surface to set the tone in line communication setting all through its operation, surface, and traction. There's the webbing system. Okay, there's the webbing system. Okay, guys? Yeah, it's pretty wild when you really understand what's going on with your system. Now it changes lines of tractions. Look at that. Okay. All right, so surface lines, upswing, course, center line, direct signals, and modification grounds. Okay. See the webbing sequence? All right, so now we recourse. We change the platforms over red in positions over flux, 3 lines of triangulation of 4 settings and travel. Okay, so we upswing the core lines of communication with ground lines of surface and set position of solar sail. Okay, see the laser track lines are coming from the car from itself? That's its webbing system of its dashboard. All right, so that's process in position of its dimensional line screen to its portal communication system all through travel. Okay, so it's indicating into the ground lines of its cars in set position of sequence and set position. Okay, now we shift the anomaly, and this is what we get through traction. So it's pretty powerful stuff when you see it in all lines of division. Okay, guys? But that's all it is. Look at the holographic structure. You know, isn't it incredible? It's all set up, and it's absolutely amazing when you start to recognize what's really going on in your mind of conception, all through its holographic setting into your AVR system. All right. All right, so that's good. But I'm just showing you how powerful it is to get in schematics of this in lines of communication system to its mind and set position. Okay, isn't that incredible? It's all color, it's all light, isn't it? Right? So this is already set up in your minds, guys. Okay, you have to get out of snowy graph interference, your structure line division locations. You have to get out of black and white and come into color. Now that process, your position location, how you calculate and modify line screen adaptation of its matrix. All right, so the mind alterates the system to infusion that sets the communication lines of ground lines of surface and tractions. So I just showed you a very powerful drawing of what you can do through schematics over line and direct signals and modification. Okay, guys? Incredible, isn't it? When you really, really understand how you look at things and perceive things through consciousness. Okay? Hello. All right, so we got ground lines. Let's get into cubic blocks. Process data highways and 3 travels. Indicates position of 3 zeros in travel. Process lines of 1 indicates in system. Platforms in track location lines, high direct signals, and track location. Now we change the core lines of grounds. Look what we have in set position. Look what we have in system, right? Look at this. Look what we have in system. Look at this. A train. A train. It's so easy to see it through perspective, guys. It's a train, right? Then basically you come into the business location to its platforms, its platforms, its platforms, its platforms, its platforms. Okay? Change it again. What do we have in set location? All right. So change it again. What do we have in set location? What do we have in set location? Let's bring this signals over cross location to a system in track calculations. Feelers. A bee. Oh boy. See, it's so much fun when you just have fun, you know? But I just wanted to show you when you get in positions, this is what you guys do through coloration, all through a simulation. How you see everything. In your skyline, your sky grid, and your realities. That's it. Very powerful stuff, isn't it? It's very powerful once you understand what you are doing in your mind. Okay? It's already created in the creation of you through creating. All in your system of the mind of conception. All through traction. Okay? All right. So it's incredible. Perspective gets you to understand how to use a box and how to go through line signals in point graphs. 2 perspective, 4 perspective, 0 perspective, center operation, right? Directing on a 45 angle, 1/3 of an angle, 1/6 of an angle, 1/3 of an angle, 1/4 of an angle, and 1/5 of an angle. Look at that. Okay, you turn it this way, what do you have in track location to its settings? You know what I mean? What do you have? A leg and a foot in set position. A leg and a foot in set position. So it's amazing what you do in track locations. Okay, look at the eye line screen. There it is. Boom. Look. Look. Serpent coming out of the water. Hoo-ah. It's pretty amazing. Let's add blue line screen adaptations to all levels of plasma. Let's add the water sequence in set position locations. Let's get into green line sequence. Color it to line settings. Inside position. Rough copy. Copy and paste. Lines of emblem, core centers, enable and track locations. Serpent coming out of the water. Hoo-ah. So, I think it's incredible when you guys come into more coloration lines, pixelation graphs, you understand yourself through T-reception settings. But you have to stay in your mainframe. Getting core lines, let's get into invisible line and process lines of 1. Let's get into visible lines of 2 and process lines of data. Let's get into divisible lines of 3 and triangulation lines of flux. Let's get into divisible lines of core centers into position of Fibonacci and circle line track locations. All right, color, 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 right? Instead of just this, black, black, black. Okay, coming out of this and into this creates this. Okay, guys? All right, so let's get in that line screen adaptations and settings. Oh, it's gotten bigger. All right. So we got an orange sequence. Now we individual lines and 0 lines of track centers. We over cross location of 0, 1. Set position of 1, 0. Cross indicates system. Set lines of travels indicate lines of flux. Now the indication lines has a triangulation of 3 lines of cycles. You can set a 3 line center in position of 2 over tractions in position of 1 over box. Over cross locations to 1 atom sequence in 3 centers, line, rotation, surface, and traction. Okay, now, see that? See how it's going down, the ball? Watch this. Okay, it's moving out of sequence now, see? All right, so I'll color it in line screen adaptation. Remember, don't look at me in set position locations, right, in tractions. Don't look at the drawing, look at the wall. I'm trying to get you guys to go beyond. Stop looking at this, stop looking at me, look at beyond, way beyond system. You don't see one-dimensional door, you see all dimensional doors all at once. Okay, so let's color it the ball in green. Let's start with that, right? Okay, let's do this. What is it doing? Is it going up or is it going down? It's not there. It's disappeared. See, it's not green anymore. It's white. So now it's its intelligence. I colored it in green, but it doesn't want to be in green. Now it's in position. Now it's in its own intelligence of its own consciousness. It basically took out the green. I colored it in green. You saw it. Now it's its own intelligence. It doesn't want to be green. Let's change it again. Is it going up or down? Okay. Let's change it again. Is it going up or down? Right? Let's color it in. I'll color it in purple. Is it in purple or is it going to take it out of purple? It's not in purple anymore. See, it doesn't want to be in purple. I'll do it again. Is it in purple? Yes, it's in purple now. See, confirmation balance with myself and the intelligence of its digital pad. Hooah. If I change it again in direct signals, it's still there or is it gone? It's there, right? So, oh, it's gone now. Where did it go? Woo! Is it magic? No. It's had enough being purple, all right? It wants to be a different color. All right. So let's get it in position red. Does it want to be in red? Yes, it wants to be in red. Okay, let's do it again. Flash line, is it in red? Yes. One more time, is it red? Yes. Okay, now let's get in line sequence and let's blend it in position over red over blue. What do we have in position locations? What do we come in track centers of? Purple. Is it still there? Yes, it is. Okay. So it wanted me to mixture the patterns of red and blue in position locations, gone purple in track location lines, high position location calculations. Now it's purple. It stays in position. All right, so it's going ahead of schedule, knowing this drawing is already done through its equation. All right, symbolism, track locations. Color the lines in position of triangulation red. Does it want to be in red? Yes or no? Yes, it wants to be in red. All right, let's go in line screen adaptations. Let's go into process of communication setting high position location of pink. Let's color in the pink in the box. Okay, is it pink? Yes, it wants to be in pink. Let's bring it back in again. Does it want to be pink? Oh, it's still there. One more time. Up, one more time. Okay, now we're in balance. Confirmation, guys, and partnerships with everything, or it disappears in front of you. All right, let's change it again. All right. Oh, the same color. Let's change it one more time. Is it the same color or is it changed? What's changed? What's changed? The box isn't pink anymore. It's not pink. It's gone. Where did it go? It's constantly moving, guys. It's never in the same color. I'm trying to show you how powerful it is. The triangulation is in the same color. The ball is in the same color, but the box is not in pink anymore. All right. Basic ground lines. Let's color it into a different color. Let's color into green. Is it green or is it going to stay invisible? Is it green? Yes. One more time. Yes. One more time. Yes. Now let's change the position. Is it still green? Yes. All right. One more time. Upswing line. Is it still green? Yes. There's the bounce. Still green. Now if I go home, it's gotten bigger. It's always changing. Its color, its light, its tractions, its E, its MC square, its mass, its calculation, its volume, its acceleration to its setting and set position, guys. I'm showing you how powerful this is, how conscious of awareness, how things can disappear in front of you because you don't have a balance with your frequencies. All right, so let's overcross locations. Now we got the orange in the position of the dot. Let's change the color. All right, let's go in position locations. Hey, let's go into brown. Let's color it brown. Does it like it or not? It's brown now, right? Now, what if I change the position locations? All right, so I change it this way. Watch, is it still brown? Yes, it wants to be brown. One more time. Okay, let's change it again. Is it brown or is it gone? It's still there. There's the balance. So I'm showing you how powerful it is in direct signals and modification grounds and symbolism. Anything change? Has anything changed? Guys, has anything changed? Okay. All right. So let's get in position lines of travel. Let's color it the triangulation. Let's get into triangulation. Let's color it in yellow. Okay. You see it in yellow. Is it in yellow? No, it doesn't want to be in yellow. Let's change another color. Let's change it to red. Does it want to be in red? Yes, it didn't want to be in yellow. It wants to be in red. So it's always been in position of what it is. For you to identify that, if I change it again, is it red? Yes, it is. If I change it this way, is it red or is it opposition? It's still there, right? So there's the balance of everything attractions. Now, let's go in this system locations. Is it still there? Yes, it is. All right. So now we work with the line communication to its atom. All right, let's indicate position lines of power. Let's put position lines of track interference. Let's color it in black. I'm coloring the box in black. Does it like it or not? It does. There's the balance. Let's do it again. And one more time. All right, let's shift now. Is it there or is it not there? Yay, we're in balance of everything now. Okay, now if I go back home, I just see it bigger. I'm showing you how powerful, if you're not consciously aware of where you are in your frequency. This is what can happen if you're not identifying its consciousness of where you are in your attractions. To know how powerful it is to see everything of its own formation, of its own intelligence. Can do whatever it wants until you understand the balance of frequencies of you. Okay? Because it's always, always protecting its system. But you have to build a collaboration and a partnership to understand where it's coming from, of its operation, of its setting in space and time. Okay? Very powerful stuff, guys. All right? If I change it this way, does it change anything? No, we're all in balance with everything through the circle, through the triangulation, through the box, through the atom, in position to its circle. All right, to its indications of its settings. Nothing has changed the formations of its arrows, though, has it? Has anything changed in set position? Where's the third arrow? It's not an arrow now. It's connecting from this to this now. You're having conversation with each other right now. See, you didn't notice that, did you? Because you were paying attention to everything that what you weren't paying attention of. I hit 3 arrows. And now it doesn't want the arrow. The box is communicating with the atom. And the atom's communicating with the box. Boom. You guys didn't see that, did you? You did not see that. Let's go back home. Change directions. Still there? Yes, it is. Right? So I'm just showing you how powerful it is that you being consciously aware of what's going on. There were 3 arrows. Not anymore. So basically it's stating the fact that the box wanted to communicate with the atom. The atom wanted to communicate with the box. Very powerful stuff, isn't it? Okay? But there's the balance. That's where it wants to be. So it doesn't matter how many times I change it. It's always going to be direct signals and modification grounds to set position. Uh-oh, what's going on here? Looks like an X2000 on standby. Interesting. Let's bring it in track locations. What do we have in set position? Whoa! What's going on here? Interesting. Let's go back home. Okay, what do we have in track locations? Look at this. What's this? Right? I didn't do this. It did it on its own. It's showing you what it can do. It can add frame and add frame, add frame at its own system locations. What does it look like to you? What does it look like to you? It's a brontosaurus. Change the angle and direct signals. All right, guys. So it's amazing how everything is a continuous force that just keeps going and going and going. All right. All right, let's go into one more sequence. Okay, we'll do we'll do 2 arrows this time and 1 point dot. Okay, pay attention now. Now in track lines communication setting, let's color the yellow into orange, into blue, into pink in position. Right? Now this is confusing the intelligence. Right? What I said, that's what this is, right? All right, so if I go back home, it's moved up, right? The arrows have moved up, right? All right, so you got to really pay attention what I'm doing. All right, so let's get positions of blue lines of signals, process communication of truth and false narratives and line track centers. So I'm trying to manipulate the color so the intelligence understands the difference. So I'm changing the coloration lines of high center. Is it blue or not? Ah, it's blue, see? I'm trying to fool the intelligence, but it knows better. So you're manipulating something that doesn't exist, that brings it into its existence, all right? All right, so let's say I say it's black, but it's not black. I say it's green in position over red. Is it black or green or red? It's black. So it knows better, right? So I'm trying to get you guys to understand how to do this. So it's all about understanding how to use the intent, the influence, and mind alterate your system, how to manipulate these things and interactions, what's real and what's not real. All right, so I'm going to put purple in the center. Is it purple or is it not purple? It likes purple, right? So if I go back home, it says position, still there in interactions. Okay, good. Now I'm going to turn it this way. What do we have in position? Anything change? No. All right, let's change it this way. Oh, what do we have here in tractions? Something's coming in. I don't know what that is. Well, what is that? Interesting. So the shape of something looks like I think it's a dolphin. Let's change it this way in traction. Let's bring it in set position locations. Okay. So I'm showing you what purple can do on its own, create its own drawing. So I'm just showing you how powerful things do it on its own sys locations. All right, guys. So I'm just showing you how powerful it is to know exactly what you're doing if you're consciously aware of what you're seeing. Okay. So if something doesn't want to be colored in, you can't trick consciousness awareness because it's already in your alignment. So you're just fooling yourself. Let me say that again. You are just fooling yourself, thinking that you can override the most powerful thing that's in your mind system that you already brought in through attraction. Hooah. It's like April Fool's Day. There's no April Fool's Day because you've already been through it. So how can that be April Fool's Day if you already know what's in sequence? How can you do that in position if you already know what's in color, what's in light, what's in traction, what's in division, what's in coding, what's in binary, what's in algorithm? Okay? Very powerful when you come in that setting. Okay, it's still all there because it wants to be there. If I change this, is it still there or is it all gone? Nope, there's a line signal. Added a line signal. So it wants to change something. Change it again. Okay, it's still there. Everything's all there, right? So if you're not identifying, all this color will disappear until you get bounced with your system to know exactly what you're dealing with. It's the most powerful thing because you brought it in through attractions. But you can't fool anyone. The only thing you're fooling is yourself. You understand? So you can't mind manipulate your system. You got to find a way to get in that position to all of the cycles and understand how to get into your mind of the psychosis of the psychological system is to understand you from each frame and track location of settings. Then you get into representation, how to use it in the mind of collaboration, building a partnership with everything around you, which is inside of you. Okay? That's it. Powerful class, guys. It was a lot of fun. I know I had fun. All right, settings, lines, high center interference. Unison will be in the cubicle screen adaptations of classification A. See you in 5.